court to a cloud.
Uh,
But that's valid. That's valid.
uh,
I bet. So let's get into it, brother. You
yeah,
feel
man.
me? Welcome to K.Y.R.A TV. This is actually our first virtual, meeting. We usually do this in person, so it's a pleasure to have you, brother. Lead with your name, brother, and tell me what you do.
Absolutely. My name is K.Y.R.A, but I've been exploring like multiple types of name based off of like the energy of names and well symbols, expressed through words. And I've been trying to do better with studying Swahili. So right now, another name for myself is Avatar Maandishi Saba Kumini Saba. And so Avatar
Okay.
Maandishi Saba Kumini Saba is, first Avatar as a physical vessel to all of the elements. So I'm deeply aligned with nature. Maandishi is writing. So I'm a writer. That's how I express myself best. And Saba
Mm-hmm.
Kumni Saba is 717 in Swahili. So seven represents the letter G and 17 represents the letter Q. Most people in college, call me GQ. So I'm trying to honor like my my journey of life in like this present consciousness. So, avatar, my andishi, Saba Kumini Saba. And in
Okay,
terms of
smooth.
what
That was
I,
a lot, brother.
yeah, man.
Exactly. There we go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So in terms of, what I do, um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a philosopher. So, I think about it in many different ways. So, what I do best is father, so, I'm a father of four. My bonus baby is Peyton, about to be 13 years old. And my three offspring, Grayson, six gonna be seven, Mason, five gonna be six, Tyson, three gonna be four. And I get the privilege to help them journey through life, for themselves and as a collective. Um, I'm also a writer. So I published two books. First one is called Journey of a Maturation Roller Coaster. Second book is The F Words, Furthering Fathering, Feeling Fatherless, Creative Intelligence of Black Consciousness. So as I said before, I
Mm.
express myself best through writing. Um, and because of that, that leads to opportunities to speak. So, I did some speaking, like schools, community events, university. And in terms of, work that I do where I'm compensated, besides the writing and speaking, I am a director of restorative justice and community engagement at a nonprofit organization called Partners in Restorative Initiatives, PURI. And what restorative justice is it's a way of being for me that's revolved around African indigenous ways in terms of responding to harm and conflict. So it's this non-punitive approach to the punitive system. It's embraced a lot in South Africa, um, Rwanda as well. They're real familiar with restorative justice. That
Okay.
philosophy,
Mm-hmm.
Ubuntu. I am because you are.
Yeah.
So we embrace that philosophy.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
come in circle. So that's a part of the work I do. A little more nuanced. So we facilitate restorative practices in all of the districts. And right now, I'm located in Rochester, New York. I represent Queens, New York all the time. Um, so we go into the districts for restorative
The
practices.
Bronx is winning though. Just know the Bronx.
Nah, Queens up. And then I also work with public defenders, some city court judges, and we get referrals to um, as a diversion program to help individuals take accountability and to repair harm. And we work with both parties, individuals that experience harm, individuals that have caused harm, and community members. Because everyone plays a part in
That's
harm.
huge, man. Yeah,
Yeah. So I'll stop it right there.
exactly.
Oh yeah, I'm a
Yeah,
basketball
none
coach
of
as
us are
well.
perfect.
Yeah,
There we go. You feel me? And a husband. He mentioned father. There's a lot of
absolutely.
hats, a lot of hats. And
Mm,
I mentioned already that you're wearing a nice crown as well. And so let's get right into it. Um, how do you feel about the current state of Ghana? Or it could be the current state of Africa from your perspective, African American male. How do you feel about the current state of Ghana or Africa?
Ghana. To be exact, I want to honor Ghana. Earlier in the week, they just revealed the statue of Malcolm X,
Hmm.
and it was beautiful to see that. I think it was last Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, on his birthday. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the
It
100.
would have been his 100th. Yeah, yeah.
Yep, yep. So that was beautiful to see because I think Ghana is is like this beacon for African Americans right now, in terms of like their form of reparation is being able to create a easier process for dual citizenship, from what I'm aware of. So now that is planting the seed for African Americans to come back to the motherland. So I really honor, Ghana, for that. And and it puts me in a deep place of contemplation in terms of what it looks like for my transition. I know one of their primary languages is Twi, so
Yeah, yeah, true.
TWI,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
I'm not too familiar with that language yet. I'm in the process of learning Swahili, as I said before. So I don't want to make a decision with my dual citizenship, just based off of knowing that Ghana is, put it on for African American people because I want to go to a country in Africa to be able to be a producer instead of a consumer. But I also know a lot of
That's real.
Ndinkra symbols were created in Ghana.
There we go. Yep.
And
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so I honor that, and I love the Ndinkra symbols. Saying Kofa, that's like my embrace
Well,
philosophy right now. So, I'm constantly calling upon the ancestors, looking at, what worked all the way back to ancient Kemet, and then seeing how I can, take principles of my art, and modernize it or just fully embody it.
yeah, yeah.
Um, I'm also aware that, you out there thriving and,
Uh,
holding it down for our people out in
Come
Ghana.
on,
So,
man.
I really
Mm,
honor you for taking that leap of faith and,
cheers.
making it happen
Yeah.
out there. Uh, But that's some
I
stuff
appreciate
that's,
you. This is an interview for you, and then
yeah,
still thank you, brother.
yeah,
I
for
do
sure.
appreciate you.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Mhm,
last thing for
mhm.
Ghana, I know
Yeah.
like there is like the economy is boosting um dramatically. A lot of investors from or black investors from the US are coming out to Ghana in particular, and scholars to be able to
Mhm,
develop the country at an even swifter pace. So it is a land of opportunity,
mhm,
and and the financial literacy. Well, there's a group, um then it will come to me, but they just started to, build a big infrastructure there, and they're big on
Earn your leisure. Earn
earn
your
your
leisure.
leisure. Exactly. So I know they're out there, contributing to,
Yes,
Ghana.
yes.
So yeah, it's becoming not like the new Miami, but it is
Yeah.
becoming a hot spot for people to go to party, to start to network now, and
Mhm.
it's highly attractive. It is.
Yeah, yeah. I
Mhm.
keep, man, and thank you for that answer. It was good. And so, Next question is, what is the first thing that comes to mind when you think of the word Africa or you think of Ghana? What is the first word, first thing you think of?
Kemet. When I think of
Okay.
Africa, I think
Speak.
of Kemet. And
Mm-hmm.
Kemet means black. So when I think about
Mm-hmm.
Kemet, and then next thing that comes to mind is ancient. So ancient Kemet, um, uh,
Mm-hmm.
ancient black race, and then um, it makes me think about the consciousness of ancient Kemet in modern day Egypt, and how we have been told a certain narrative around what Africa is, and it's a false narrative. Just when
Speak on it. What's the false narrative that we're taught? Talk about it.
yeah, the
Yeah,
false
talk about it. What's the
narrative.
false narrative we're taught?
So the false narrative is, there is no history in Africa. They're basically, saying that, for black folk, there is, slavery, and then, those places where slavery, began is the foundation of the black people, which isn't true, at all. And there's narratives around, that the countries of Africa is dilapidated and scarce on
Yeah.
resources, and they can't govern each other. There was just an interview on that,
For
on
themselves, yeah.
European Mind, saying that Africa needs to be recolonized because African leaders can't govern their territories and
Wow.
stuff. And he said it blatantly. I
Yeah.
saved it. I'll send it to you when I refind it. Seen it today.
I
Um,
appreciate you. I'll definitely add it to this. You know what I mean? Because
yeah,
this is gonna be on my socials in front of millions of people. So you finna be famous. You're already famous, GQ, and then you're gonna be more famous. Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, so it's this false narrative around,
Mm-hmm.
African consciousness, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a part of my journey, the Sankofa journey, to learn more around our birthright and our birthland, to be able to, embrace the essence, of what it means to, be African, and like truly live up to that with integrity and dignity. And then, that would give other people
That's
permission to
right.
do the same.
Mm-hmm. That's what's you be hitting, you be batting, and so my follow-up question would be, because you mentioned, relocating, relocating to Ghana possibly or somewhere in Africa, and I'm sure you are aware of the year of return and beyond the return. Are you aware of the initiative in Ghana, year of return and beyond the return?
No, you
Okay.
mentioned it before. I would love to hear more.
Yeah, yeah. It's really just an initiative by the previous president, Nana Adu. I don't want to botch his name, but the previous president, I'll leave it there. But Nana Adu Kofo, something similar to that, just to give some respect to it. Created this initiative in 2019 in terms of a year return. It was the quote unquote 400-year anniversary of the 1619 narrative in terms of the transatlantic slave trade. So it was like a call to return, essentially for African Americans, the diaspora, those in South America. Though it was really geared towards African Americans, a lot of African American celebrities were given the red carpet treatment, like a lot of praise, a lot of like welcoming, and a lot of media and fanfare to bolster this marketing initiative to bring more African Americans specifically and diasporans generally here. So after 2019, it was very successful. They had over 1 million, tourist visits, which is like the most they've ever had, ever. You know what I mean? So it was very successful. 2020 was obviously the pandemic, but they continued the initiative with Beyond the Return. So every subsequent year after 2019, and so that's essentially what it is an initiative for reintegration of Africa's diaspora for the development of Ghana.
Yeah. So that's what I was talking about earlier. I just didn't know that was the initiative name. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So
Mhm.
there was a question associated with that?
So it was really just if you know about it, and then um, so so you do know about it, or you're kind of getting aware of it. You're getting aware of it.
Yeah. So
So
that's
I
the
think my main question from that, yeah, my question from that would be, how do you feel about that initiative? How do you feel about the year of return and essentially diasporans actively calling Ghana their new home? Like, how do you feel about this initiative?
yeah, I think it's a blessing to be able to have an initiative like that because it plants the seed for, African Americans to come back to the motherland and, to contribute, to Ghana as well. Um,
Hmm.
but like we don't want them African Americans coming in with a perception like a trauma savior. Like, oh, this place needs Americans to be able to, make it a better place. It's a more of how
Hmm.
do we uncondition our Americanized thinking to then re-embrace the culture. So I think about it that way
Hmm.
and proud of the leadership for putting forth that type of initiative. I'm excited to see how it's gonna unfold with with the with the new economy and job opportunities. I really want to experience the city life there to to understand the customs and and just figure out how I could add value there. Because I met a few scholars who do trips to Ghana for like African executive leadership, and
Hmm.
when I go to these places, I really want to be able to add value to those places to one, because I'm a entrepreneur, but a community leader. So I really want to see the upliftment of people and experience harmony and embrace the rhythmatic nature that's with grained in our genetics and DNA. But I'm aware that there was that initiative, and I think people need to know about it more. So it has to be promoted on
Right.
social media again, and again, show videos. We see the red carpet of
Hmm.
the celebrities going there, but not everyone is going to get that type of treatment.
Yeah,
So what does it look like
exactly.
for you to continuously show the everyday life of being in university in Ghana.
Hmm.
So now people are experiencing the traditional customs there. So I'm glad that you have this channel, to be able to connect with scholars, just for them to see the background as well, like the
Yeah, yeah.
space that you in, because people have this image, that the land, is just this dilapidated place, everything is not,
Hmm.
pleasant looking, and that's not the case at all, at all.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's the most
yeah, yeah.
devastating thing to me,
Hmm.
that media depicts our land in such a not good way, which is intentional, to prevent
Yeah,
people from going back. So Ghana, is fighting that with putting forth initiatives like that, beyond the return.
like this. Yeah, yeah. It's real, brother. And definitely, you know, it's it's wholesome, like being able to see it because and you will see it. I don't think we spoke
You're frozen.
in too much. Hello, can you hear me, brother?
Can
Brother,
you
you
hear
there?
me? Can you hear me? Yeah, I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, yes.
All
Can
right, now we all set.
okay, okay.
All right,
Sometimes, but my question was, I know we talked about it off camera, but have you been to the continent before?
yeah. No, I haven't been. My experiences is through following scholars, like Baba Kaba Kaname. We were just talking about him, and I watched, the documentary that he was a part of as well. And I'm just watching a whole lot of content of African scholars, talk about the land. But I can't wait. The place that I want to go
Mm.
first is Tanzania, and because I'm
Oh,
in the
okay.
process of learning Swahili, and that's their primary language.
Exactly.
And then most likely I'll be going to Kenya because Kenya,
Mm.
one of their primary
Also speak
languages
Swahili.
is Swahili.
Mhm.
I'll
That's
spend
true.
some time in Rwanda because
Hmm.
they announced one of their four primary languages. One of them is, Swahili. So I want to go there
Hmm.
to be able to speak the language and again
Hmm.
add value. So I know in Rwanda they're aware of, you know, the essence of restorative justice. So, I know I can
Hmm.
go there and connect with community, tribe members, scholars that embrace the circle mindset. So that would be super exciting.
Hmm.
And I'm a nature photographer, so
Hmm.
Tanzania is known for like their safaris and things like that. But
Beautiful.
I want
Yeah,
to
yeah,
just spend
yeah.
time on the land, taking pictures of birds, because I'm a birder, and
Hmm.
ground myself, barefoot. I do a lot of meditations
Yeah.
and just like
Hmm.
really engulf myself in the nature. And that's why, I identify as Avatar, my Andishi. So
That's real.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, and so my question, one of the last ones, you're doing a great job, is what do you wish more Africans knew about African Americans? Like, if there was one thing you wish either Africans, Ghanaians, Tanzanians, Rwandans, Cameroonians, what is one thing you wish they knew more about the diaspora, and more specifically African Americans?
We're the descendants that survived the boat trip. So
Mm.
so um we have this strength and resilience, ingrained at this point in our DNA. So
Mm.
um, there is this perception, that we are a lost people, but because of the resilience and the fact that cosmically, this is the golden age, and we're on our way to the return. So we haven't lost our way, African people. We are on our way back.
Mhm.
And I promise you that we will experience harmony again as one people, just like
Mhm.
the Rastafarians embrace,
Mhm.
one love, and that consciousness that we all, are
Mhm.
connected,
Mhm. Yeah,
so
yeah. And
we just
Kwame
really,
Ture said, yeah, yeah. My fault,
hmm
brother. Continue.
Now go
My fault.
ahead, because that's an important statement.
No, no, it freezes. So sometimes I think you finished when you're not, but not. You got to continue. The Wi-Fi here, I'm in Ghana. It's not the best,
Okay.
but I'm listening. My fault. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that consciousness, like we are interconnected,
Mhm.
and we're just on different degrees, and we're learning,
Mhm.
how to create that reharmony, so we could
Mhm.
create a symphony again, so in due time it
Yeah.
will be
Yeah.
such a thing.
I'm fine with it. Those are all good answers. Okay.
Mhm.
And how do you feel like wanting to come here, obviously having a family, so logistically you have to plan differently. It's not just yourself, but
Mhm.
like, how do you feel? Like, what are some of the barriers that you know have stopped you from being here already? Because I feel like, you know, in your heart of hearts, you should have been here before. You know what I mean? So what are some of those barriers?
A few things. Well, first I gotta make sure that, my wife is completing her journey. She is in the process of getting her doctorate. And I want to
Oh
make
well,
sure that she concludes, that journey and really embraces her version of leadership. And then on another end, what does it look like to have a strong plan as a producer? So that's why I'm like taking those steps now of learning the language, so I can, establish swifter rapport when I come, to Tanzania or Kenya. So it's basically like building a business plan, and a part of the business plan is a true embrace of the, anthropology aspect of it, the culture, the language, socioeconomics, um, the political landscape. So understanding that is more important to me versus like going as a tourist because I have such a strong desire, to go back. So
yeah.
Akili and me, YouTube, we got the kids watching that. And like, so like the theme song is Akili, 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 Akili. And so like they're learning like the numbers, Moya Billy, tattoo, tattoo, tattoo. So like it's
Mm,
compounding to the point um where we're at in our careers, myself and Daniqua will be at a point where, we're gonna have the conversation like, here's where we are. This is, what I'm thinking in terms of the transition and the actual plan. You may have skepticism, so I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that there's security in terms of consistent income coming in and, buying a house. And once those things are established, then I'm like, all right, this is what we're doing. And then we'll transition. But I have to make sure those securities are in place.
yeah. Right. Those security measures, I feel you.
Yeah.
Because again, you going with the whole, with the whole love, with the whole team, the
Yeah,
whole
man.
squad. Okay, last question. How do we unite? Definitely being an African American and doing a lot of great work back home in the States.
Yeah.
How do you feel we can unite as African Americans and more broadly the diaspora and Africans, or more specifically Ghanaians and or Tanzanians, Kenyans, Cameroonians, Nigerians, etc. Yeah, how can we unite?
Yeah.
What are your
We
perspectives?
unite best through Shango. So Shango is one of the Orishas who fully embraces the drums, so the rhythm. So we connect best through, the Renaissance. That was like one of our most successful,
Mhm,
periods of time
mhm.
for, you know,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
diaspora of Black people. And that migration wasn't just in Harlem, but you got like Chicago, Indianapolis, Detroit, St. Louis. So, we express ourselves through movement, through the Renaissance. So the more and more we can embrace it in a positive way. So like we're sharing stories
Mhm,
through sound, through movement, and showcasing it on a larger
mhm,
scale. I think organically
mhm,
is gonna, create a swifter harmony. There's so many misconceptions when we introduce language because there's language barriers, and then there's an interpretation of what is being heard and processed in the brain. So, so if you think about it, we have like a 50% chance of, you know, understanding what someone is actually saying based off of our own narratives and our understanding of information. So that instantly causes conflict, language. it is an
It could,
equalizer
yeah.
if everyone knew the same language, but
Mhm.
everyone is entitled to interpretations of languages. So therefore, if we can, connect on a universal scale, which is through frequency, and when I say frequency, colors, vibrations, which come in the form of
Music, yeah.
sounds,
Mhm.
movements, and
Art,
we
yeah.
create this bridge of
Mhm.
you know the the um the renaissance of the African American and then the renaissance of the African countries, and being able to bridge
Mhm.
that to then be able to have more conversations, to be able to celebrate each other, to be able to just be in community. It would be a drastic shift in how we perceive ourselves, and the it will amplify our potential of a unified people. So I'm actually working on
Yeah,
that
I love
too.
it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, huge, man. And definitely bringing up Shango, one of the Ordishas, in terms of, Yoruba spirituality. He's like the first Thor before there was Thor in the Marvel
Yeah.
movies. He walks with that axe. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Double
And
double
it
sided.
definitely, you feel me, is that warrior. That warrior spirit, red man, red. And
Yeah, red
so
and white.
you know,
Mm. And I think real quick,
my in okay, okay, I got you.
I think he's a great totem for African American people because he embodies the essence of justice. But there are certain
Okay.
stories around Shango
Mm,
as he was a human warrior who then
yeah.
proves himself worthy to become a deity. And
Mm-hmm.
we could use that symbolism to show like we are African American people who, within us is divinity, but what does it look like for us to express our true nature, find our true passion and purpose, and in doing so, we become deified. But in order to do that,
Yeah.
you have to live in your purpose on purpose,
Mm-hmm.
and when we embrace
Mm-hmm.
that, we are Shango.
Come on now. I
Yeah.
love it. I mean, the reaches get deep, man. Obatala, Oya,
Yeah.
Yameya, you know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? Elegua, like they get real deep. But I love the fact that it's one of the only forms of, African spirituality, other than obviously your Kemetic spirituality, that like has become institutionalized successfully so it can go beyond its borders and we can really know a lot about it even if we're not in Nigeria. So it's like it's really cool. And I know there's so many, so many African spirituality, so many forms of African spirituality, that I would love to definitely dive deep on another interview, on another
Yeah,
tip,
for sure.
and then still
Yeah.
phenomenal interview. I was also going to mention something else, and then that'll wait. So that's really it, brother. I'm gonna turn my camera off because we're pretty much ending right
Yeah.
now. This is a segment we usually close with, where I leave the frame. So I'm just going to turn off my camera, and you really just talk to the people. So you're really going to just say, "Dear Black man, it is okay too." And so you're talking to, again, we have people from all over the world on this channel, US, Caribbean, Ghana, obviously Nigeria, Egypt, South America, South Africa, South America, Central America, really. Some people in Europe, so a few people in China and Japan, very few. But still, dear Black man, it is okay too. What do you hope to really share to the people? So I'm gonna back away again. Dear Black man, it is okay too. Okay.
That I love that. Um, I'm actually gonna make a quick adjustment and address the black man and black woman. And I'm gonna read one of the pieces. Black woman, black man, the ultimate expression of love is union. Black woman, black man. Nature is the fundamental essence for all things to have purpose. Black woman, black man, destined for infinite manifestations, for your true nature is divinity. Black woman, black man, your cohesion forces tectonic plates to make the earth dance. Black woman, black man, grasp the masses of eternity flowing freely, vessel to vessel, re experiencing karmic love. Black woman, black man, live in the timelessness gaze of knowing. Black woman, black man, use your superpower to disperse each water molecule, forming haze of bondage. Black woman, black man, kryptonite free. Your ancestors are celestial beings. Black woman, black man, prophesize to succeed. Black woman, black man, don't you know you are deities? Black woman, black man, don't you know you are deities? Great.
Hey, and we appreciate you, brother. That was really dope. Homie gave us a full poem. He was already prepared. I promise you, we didn't plan this.
Yeah, that was crazy.
But listen, don't get ready, stay ready. Okay, the
Yeah,
camera, the
man. Never
lighting
lacking.
is gonna get back together. But still, like really dope. And you feel me? I appreciate you, brother. Very snow.
Yeah. Much love and respect.